Yeah, welcome all. The topic we'll be discussing in this lecture is types of system calls. So we'll be discussing different types of system calls that are available in a typical operating system. And we'll be discussing this under four main headings. These are the first one will be process control, and the second one is file management. First is process control, the second one is file management, the third is device management, the fourth is information maintenance, and the fifth is communications, and the sixth one is protections. So we'll be discussing the types of system calls under these headings. So we'll start with process control. That is, we'll try to identify what are the system calls associated with process control. Already you know what is a process. A process is a program under execution. A process is an active entity, whereas program is an passive entity. Now we'll understand the various system calls associated with process control. So the first system call is create process and to terminate process. So create process is used to create a new process, and terminate process is used to finish or complete the execution of a particular process. Typically in Unix, a process is created by using a command called as fork. So Unix supports one particular command. The name of the command is fork. So using this particular command, the processes were created in Unix. Okay. And terminate process. So terminate means what? Terminating means it is to complete the process. Okay. So termination can happen in two ways. Termination can happen in two ways. Either it can be a normal termination, that is the program has finished executing, that is the process has finished executing all the instructions and it is terminating. Such a termination is called as normal termination, or it can be an abnormal termination. Abnormal termination means if the process is terminated due to any error, then that is called as abnormal termination. Okay, so the process may terminate under two circumstances. Either it may be a normal termination or it may be an abnormal termination. Okay, so the next system call that we will be discussing is related to that particular termination. So it is end or abort. Okay. So end represents, the system called end represents the process is terminating in a normal way. Okay, that is without any error. The process has finished executing all the instructions and so that it is terminating. So such a termination is called as end. And abort represents abnormal termination. Abort represents abnormal termination. If the process terminates in middle due to some error or any such thing, then such kind of termination is called as abnormal termination. Okay. So there will be a system call to create process, there will be a system call to terminate process, there will be a system call to complete terminate process in a natural way, and there will be a different system call to terminate the process in an abnormal way. The next system call is to load and execute process. Okay. So creating process is done using fork. Similarly, there will be a separate system called to load and execute the process. Loading represents loading the process into memory. Execution represents assigning the processor with the process. Okay. The next system call that will be typically used by a process is get process attribute and set process attribute. So process may have some attributes. Attribute represents some features of the process. Okay. So whether it is performing a read operation or write operation, or or the process is associated with does it associated with any device, all such things, device in the sense any IO devices, all such things are called as attributes of a process. Okay. So there will be a system called to get the process attributes. What are the attributes of this process? Okay, even attributes includes process ID. What is the ID of the process? How much, which part of memory it is using? Okay, and how long it will be staying in the memory. All these also comes under attributes. Okay, so get process attributes will give the set of attributes connected with a particular process, and set process attribute is used to assign values to these attributes. And most often process may have to wait during its execution for some reasons. So there will be some system called to wait for a particular time. Okay, so there may sometimes you may want to wait you may purposefully want to wait a process. Okay, so the wait system call some, so typically programming languages uses either sleep or wait command. Okay, say for example, there may be a command sleep 1000, which means this particular process will sleep for 1000 millisecond. Okay, that means it won't do anything during that time, it just waits. Okay, or it may be just wait. Okay, wait wait within bracket how much time it should wait. Okay, so wait for say 2500, it means it will wait for 2500 milliseconds, which is nothing but 2.5 seconds. Okay, so it depends, the name actually depends, the name may be either sleep or wait or whatever it may be, that may vary with operating system to operating system. But basically at some instances you may want to wait, you may want the process to halt temporarily, and that can be done by using uh, this particular system call, which is to wait for a given time. Okay, and then sometimes you may want the process to wait for an event, you may want the process to wait for an event. Okay, that is until that particular event occurs the process should wait. Okay, so in that case you may the program may be using the system called wait event. Okay, say for example there may be a form in the user program. Okay, and the form may take different details like name, the name of the customer. Okay, and what is his ID, the ID of the customer. Okay, and what are the products he purchased, the what are the products he purchased. Okay, all the details it may take. Finally there may be a submit button. Okay, finally there may be a submit button. Once the user clicks on the submit button, then some other new process should be created, and that process what it will do, it will collect all these data and it may store it in a file or it may store it in a database. Okay, so 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 if the user clicks on this button, then this process should be called. Okay, this particular process should be called. Okay, say let us call this as process, some process. Okay, process K. So process K should be called only when the user clicks on the submit button, and when the user clicks on the submit button, this process will be called and it will do some task like storing this data into the file or to the database. It will store this content to the database. Let us say it stores to the database. Okay, now there are two processes that were running in the system. This is one process, say we call this as main process. You can call this as main process, so I'll call it as process M. So this is process M and this is process K. So but process M will be waiting for which event? Process M will be waiting for the event submit. Until submit is not clicked, process M will not call the process K. Okay, until submit is clicked. process M will not call process K. So in such cases, we will be using this wait event or signal event. You can either call it as wait event or signal event. That is process M is waiting for this particular event to occur. Which event? Event is click on the submit button. Okay. Or whenever the submit button is clicked, a signal will be passed to process M so that process M can call process K. Okay. So in that case, we'll be using wait event or signal event system call. And then processes will be using the system calls to allocate and free memory. So yeah, so uh, depending on the new processes created, memory has to be allocated or freed. Okay, if a process goes out of the operating system, out of the main memory, then memory should be freed. If a new process comes in, then new memory should be allocated. Okay. The next system call is in connection with errors or in connection with abnormal termination of the process. If a process terminates abnormally, then what will happen? Assume some process is running in the main memory and that process has terminated abnormally. Okay. So now, now what will happen? Now what will happen in the sense, abnormal termination means some error has occurred. Some error has occurred. So this process has terminated. So process, say, let us assume process A is executing for a particular time. Process A is executing for a particular time. Okay. So it is starting from this time and it is executing up to this time. But at this particular point, there is an error. Okay. So there is an error. So actually it is supposed to execute for some more time. It's supposed to execute for some more time to end the process in a natural way. But at this point there is an error. So this process has been aborted. Okay, that is it terminates abnormally. Okay, so the abort system call will be called and the process will be removed from the main memory. Okay. During this case, what the operating system will do in the sense, operating system will dump some content into memory. That is, operating system will take one part of the main memory, okay, one small part of the main memory, and this part we will call it as dump. Okay, so this part we will call it as dump. Okay, so what the operating system will dump here in the sense, the operating system will dump the reason for the error, what error has occurred, why this error has occurred, those details operating system will write here. Okay, why the operating system is writing here? Because some user will be executing this process. So this particular process might be initiated by a user called user A. Okay, so let us call U represents user and A represents the name of the user. So user A has initiated this process. Now this process suddenly terminated means he don't know why it is terminated. Okay, so for that clarification, operating system dumps the reason for termination in some part of memory. Okay, now later once the process is abnormally terminated, the user can go back and refer to this main memory, this dump location, and understand the reason for the abnormal termination, and probably he can rectify that and he can execute the process again. Okay. So this is also, there are also system call to perform this operation, okay, which is called as debugging. Okay, so dump memory if error. So if there is any error, then the operating system will dump content into the memory. So there are system calls for that. And also there are and so when the memory is dumped, then there are debuggers for determining bugs. Okay, there are some debugger softwares which are used, using which you can access that dump memory location and you can understand why the error has occurred. Similarly, there is a concept called single step execution. Single step execution is normally any programming language provides this feature called single step execution, by which you can perform a step by step execution. You can execute one line and see what is the output, then next line and what is the output. So basically this is for checking the errors. Okay, say for example you are writing a program and that program has say thousands of line. The program, you have written a program with thousands of line, and the program is compiling successfully. Okay, program is compiling successfully, there is no compilation error at all, but it is not executing properly. You are not getting the intended output that you are supposed to get. As the length of the code is too much, you are unable to trace the error. Okay, so for that purpose, every programming language provides a feature which is called as step by step execution. Okay, there may be some key like F8. By pressing F8 you can perform step by that. On example I'm saying, okay, you may perform step by step execution. Okay, so now what happens when you press F8 for the first time, the first instruction alone will be executed. If it is supposed to display something in the screen, that alone will be displayed. Then second instruction, like that, when you keep pressing F8, one by one instruction will execute. Okay, so you can check whether each instruction is giving the desired output or not. So at maybe at one particular instruction, 120th instruction, it may not be executing in that way that you are expecting. Okay, then you may trace out, okay, this is the, so you may at least trace out the problem is in this line. Okay, then you may isolate that particular code and you may try to rectify that error. Okay, this is also one type of debugging. So operating system also provides system calls for step by step or single step execution. Okay, and then operating system provides system call for locking shared memory access. Okay, already we have discussed the concept of shared memory. Shared memory means there will be a single part of memory which will be shared by more than one user. Say this particular memory is shared by two users. Okay, if it is shared by two users, but that doesn't mean that both the user can access the memory at the same time. No, they cannot access the memory at the same time. If user 1 is accessing the memory, then user 2 should not be given access. If user 2 is accessing, then user 1 should not be accessed. Okay, so before accessing the memory, either user 1 or user 2 should check whether currently memory is not being accessed by anyone or not. If it is not being accessed by anyone, then user 1 will be given access. If user 1 is accessing, currently if user 1 is given access, then it means that the memory is in lock stage. It is in lock state. Okay, now if user 2 checks, he will know that it is lock. It means somebody else is using. So he will wait until it becomes unlocked. Now if user 1 wanted to use this for some particular amount of time, he will use it. Then finally, when the user finished accessing, then the lock will be removed. Okay, once the lock is removed, so it becomes unlocked. U unlock U1. Okay, I'm calling it as U1. Okay, unlocked. Now again user 2 checks, now it is unlocked. It means user 1 is not using, now he can use. Okay, so there should be a lock mechanism available in the memory which will effectively felicitate the process of shared memory access. Okay, so for that also there should be system call. So operating system provides system call for successfully performing shared memory access. So these are the different system calls which we have under process control. Okay, okay. The next is file management. So under file management, we have system call for creating and deleting files. To create a new file or to delete an existing file, and to open or to close a file. To open an existing file, perform some operation, and then to close a file. The system calls to open a file and to close a file. And also we have system calls to read, write, and reposition. To perform read operation on the file, to perform write operation to the file, and to reposition the file pointer. It is currently the file pointer may be pointing 10th location, but you may now want the pointer to point to the 30th location. So that is called as repositioning the file pointer. So there are system calls available for that also. And also there are system calls to get and set the file attributes. File attribute means name of the file, or which is the, whether it is a read file or write file, or which user has rights to open or close or perform operations on that file, all these comes under attributes. Okay, so there are system calls to get the attributes, and also there are system calls to set the file attributes. So this is about file management system calls. And then we have system call for device management. So device represents any hardware device. Okay, it may refer to the hard disk, it may refer to the printer, it may refer to any other IO devices. Okay, so the system calls pertaining to this are request and release device. For example, a process which is running in the currently running, it may request a device. A process may request a printer. For requesting a printer, it should use the request device system call. And after using the printer, it should release the printer. It should release that particular resource. Device is a resource. So for releasing, it will use the release device system call. Okay. And then we have system call to perform read and write operation, and also reposition. For example, if you take hard disk, currently if you are reading the content from track 1 sector 2, then you may immediately want to read the content from track 10 and sector 5. So then that is called as repositioning. So there are system called to perform read operation, write operation, and to reposition the head or the device pointer. Okay. And there are a system called to get and set the device attributes. Get the device attributes and set the device attributes. Okay. Again, attributes represents device ID, what operations can be performed on the device, all these things. Okay. And also there are system called to logically attach or detach a device to a particular process. Okay. So after requesting the device, the operating system will provide the device if the device is free, and then the device should be logically attached with that particular process. So for that, there is a system called to logically attach, and once the process is completed, it should be removed. So we have a system called to detach the device. So these are the system calls corresponding to device management. Then we have system call for information maintenance. So information may be passed from the user program to the operating systems. So while for passing information from user program to operating system, or from operating system, from user program to operating system, the user program may need to call certain system calls. Okay. So it's only for passing information from user program to operating system. So these system calls include get time or date, or set time or date. So if the user program is using time or date, okay, then they need to get the time or date from the operating system. For that, they can use the system called get time or date. Or if they want to change the system date or time, then they can use the set time or date system call to change the system date or time. Similarly, there are system calls to get system data and set system data. Okay. So system here represents operating system. Get some data from operating system, or to set, to change values of some attributes. Okay. And similarly, there are system calls to get and set process, file, or device attributes. Right. So these are the system calls pertaining to information maintenance. Next, we have system calls connected with communications. So here communication represents process communication. Communication from one process to another process. So there are certain system calls which will be used for effectively performing this communication. So we have create or delete communication connection. So as we have already discussed, two processes can communicate in two ways. Right? The processes can communicate among themselves in two ways. The first is by using message passing, and the second method is by using shared memory. Okay. So if the processes were communicating using message passing, then the connection should be established. So for that, you need a system call to create communication connection. And once the communication is over, the connection should be removed. Okay, for that we use the delete communication connection. Okay, so in a message passing model, so as already discussed, the communication can happen in two styles, either by message passing or by shared memory. In message passing model, there will be the host name, and the host name will be connected with a IP address, and and in that particular system there may be multiple processes will be running, but one of the process may be connecting, may be communicating with another process, either in the same system or in some other system. So there will be a process ID. There will be a process ID. Okay. And also there will be a server and a client. Okay. The server will be listening or waiting for the client. And once the client is available, a connection will be established between the server and the client, and then the communication happens. Okay. So this is how communication happens in a but through message passing. Okay, so there will be a server and a client and a socket type of communication channel will be established, and through that socket they will send and receive data. Once the communication is over, the 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 channel will be removed or it will be disconnected. And in a shared memory model, there will be a shared memory, and either of the process can write to the shared memory whatever they want to communicate, and the other process can read. Okay, but as already discussed, shared memory can be accessed by only one process at a time. When one process is accessing, then the memory will be in the lock state, and the other process has to wait. And also communication is also used to, and also there are system calls in under communication related to transfer status information. Status information represents status of a particular process, whether the process is currently in running state, or it is in waiting state, or in what state it is. Okay, in the process life cycle, the process may be in different state. It may be in running state. Running means it is currently executing, or it may be in waiting. Waiting means it is waiting for an IO operation to occur. Okay, or it may be uh, waiting means it is waiting for a processor. Okay, it is waiting for the processor, or it may be in the blocked state. Blocked means it is waiting for an IO operation to occur. Like that, the process in its lifetime, it may be in different state. So this status information can also be transferred. Uh, you can also get the status information through certain system call. And also there are system calls to attach and detach remote devices. So remote devices represents if two or more if the processes were running in different devices. Okay, if one process is in one system and another process in another system, then then you have to connect with that particular system. Okay, so in that context, it is there are system calls to attach or detach remote devices, or you can also say that in a remote system, say one process from one system is communicating with another process in another system, and in the other system you are trying to access some resource. Okay, then you want to attach with that device or a hardware. After performing the operation, it should be detached. So these are the system calls pertaining to communications. And then we have system calls connected with protection. So again, protection refers to controlled access to resources. Okay, so protection refers to controlled access to resources. So there are system called to get and set permission. Get permission to access a particular resource, or to set permission, change the access level. Okay, and also there are system calls to allow and deny user access. Whether the user access should be allowed, then there will be one system call. If the user access should not be allowed, then there will be some other system call. Okay. So these are the various system calls which are available, which are normally used in an operating